Welcome to the Fibs 2.0 video course. This section here is more for intermediate to advanced traders, just because the pattern is slightly risky and you need to know what you're looking for in order to enter the trade. So in this case, we're still using the Fibs, just that instead of give me one second. If you're gonna take a long position and you run your fibs from the leg that broke a downward market structure and now you're going long, instead of entering the trade on the 62, between the 62 and the 79 level, you will be entering the trade at the 38 level. On the very, very big push, you will be taking the trade on the 23, but I don't recommend that as much. I prefer to enter the 38. And after you enter that's the trade, the 38 strategy, it would only be for a 10 pip scalp. After that, the most of the time the chart, what it does is that it pushes back and then it bounces on the 62 level. So this is where the double entry comes into play. You're able to scalp 10 pips at the 38 level, take profit at the next resistance area or 10 pips, let the chart collapse, and then just wait on the sidelines to enter the trade at the 62 to 79 level. Most of the time you'll get these two entries in the 24-hour time frame. So that is one of the benefits from knowing these two strategies. Also, because as you look at charts and you get used to these fibs, you would identify in certain places and certain pushes when it's going to have a 62 pullback or when is it just going to be a 38. But most of the time, the 38 pullback happens first, it climbs, then it pushes back for another entry at the 62 to 79, and you could get your second entry there. So now on this chart, I'm going to look for certain examples. I see one right here. This is the same day that I created the live trading video, which I had taken a short right here and I took profit along the way down. But in the middle of that process, let me just run the fibs here so you can see the 62 entry. So if you see here, you have a 62 to 70 entry short, and you take profit at the next support area. And then this target here was at a level zone right here, which was at the 500. And I already spoke about the levels on the previous course, and that is the reason why this was my third TP on that video, even though I ended up taking profit around here. I never like to wait for the whole trade to unfold. I like to pay myself. But if you notice, it touched right there, the 500 area. So these are the major points for the chart. Let me go back to this. So yeah, this was a trade that I took today in the morning, short. But if you notice, if you remove the fibs and you didn't take that trade, you see that this is a very strong push down. So most of the time what happens on a very strong leg is that you can run your fibs from the top to the bottom of the push, and you can clearly see that this is the bottom of the push because it started retracing here, and you could have gone short right at the 38 level and taken profit right at the next support. But you need to make sure that on the 38 bounce that you're taking a short, you want to make sure that you're getting at least 10 pips. The trade is not worth it if it's not at least 10 pips. In this case, it was right at 10 pips, almost 11 pips. And ended up pushing down to 16 pips. So it wasn't a bad scalp. So if you would have seen this push down, you've run your fibs, you let the chart retrace, you can take the 38 entry, it flushed down, immediately retraces all the way back, and then now you have your second entry between the 62 and 79. So you see how it gave you two entries in one pattern. you would have been able to scalp here at least 10 pips with 5 lots. That's $500. So before you even take your main trade, which is the 62 to 79, this is the ideal pattern that you will be trading. You can still squeeze in a hyper scalp in between. So with 5 lots, that would have been $500. So you're already on the green for the day. So taking this trade is less risky since you're already up $500. And then you could have taken this trade in between this area. And most likely this is going to push back down to retest this 8500 level down here. So that is the reason why the hyper scalp method is slightly riskier, because you're anticipating the push on the 38 level. I'd rather just sit back and wait for the chart to completely retrace to the 62 to 79. So let's keep on moving back, find more examples here. Here there's another example. This is a long push up, a very strong leg. So you run your fibs from the bottom of the leg that broke this market structure here to the bull side, and then here you see automatically a bounce on the 38 level. And let's see how big is that. Here, this is actually a 24 pip move. However, it only gave you a 13 pip scalp. So this is great because the point of the hyper scalp technique is for you to just get 10 pips, and that's it. It doesn't matter if you feel that this push is going to retrace to the 38 and bounce again to the 0 level. The point for you is to just take 10 pips off the table. So that would have worked out for you. You would have taken 10 pips, sold immediately at 10 pips, which would have been right around here. Wait for the entire chart to just retrace. It happened overnight, and then the following day, you see a bounce right here at the 79 level. So you see this flush here, and another flush, and a rejection. So you know that you could have started adding here at the 70 level. Then you had another flush because they were trying to run the stops that people placed here. There's people that place stops very tight. There's people that place stops at 3 pips or 5 pips, even 8 pips. I feel like those stops are too tight. That's why I use 10 pip stops. Sometimes I even let it fluctuate to 11 pips. It is not ideal, but I kind of know what I'm looking for. So in certain cases, I will let the trade push back against me on one position at least 11 pips, or at most 11 pips. So here you will see that it pushes in your favor and it retraces again to run stops, but then it bounces right at the 79 level, which is your second entry, and then you have your bounce. And remember, always take profit at 10 pips and then let one position ride to the next resistance area, just because you don't know that in the middle of this trade here, of this 79 bounce going up, you can see another fib like the one that we previously drew from the top to the bottom side. There could be another fib on a 62 entry to the downside. So that's why you always want to take profit at 10 pips. And if the chart is going to continue in your favor, then you will let the rest of your positions just ride out. But just know that taking 10 pips off the table every single day, that will grow your account just on that one single position. The extra positions that you let ride, that's just a bonus for your trading. So this was one example here of the double entry and the hyper scalp right here. And most of the time they happen on very, very strong legs. And you might see it just take a bounce back to the 23 level. So in those cases, you will not take the trade if it's only bouncing back to the 23 level. So here you have a big push down. So as this push is happening, you start drawing your fibs. You see all these bearish candles, you just let them unfold. Bearish candles. Here, it was a slight retracement, so you could have dropped your fibs right there and anticipate a push back to the 38 to short, especially since the indicators cross here, and it means that the chart is temporarily bearish. So here it didn't really have a major pullback, and then it continued to tank. So you keep pulling your fibs down. Here you had another retracement, so then you would drop them there. And if you notice, a 38 bounce right there. It retraced with a 38. So you could have taken a short right here, taking profit at the next support area or at 10 pips. Now let's see if it's giving us 10 pips. Before you take the position, you want to measure the length and make sure that you have at least 10 pips so it could be worth your time. In this trade, it would have been 16 pips, so that would have been perfect. You keep moving up. Huge leg down. And I had a perfect 38 bounce right here. Most of the time when you see this major pulls like this, these are caused by news. So when the news comes out, you would not trade it, just let the play unfold. But once you see a big push one direction, a retracement, you can start anticipating a bounce on the 38, which will be a very strong push. This was a strong push. And the reason why I retraced to the 38 is because people were starting to take profit. So it pulled back, bearish environment. So it helped the chart push down entirely to the next support level. And here we have about 28 pips. And it pushed down to 35 pips. So that would have been an awesome hyper scalp. I will remove this. Keep going back. Here you have a strong push. Here you have a strong push. You have a 38 bounce right here. Also, you have confluence with your indicators because you see the green 14 EMA is crossing the 50 SMA, which is calling out a temporary bullish environment. So once you see this bullish activity here with the EMAs and also the pullback, you would anticipate an entry at the 38 level, and it rips from there. There's also one here, but it wasn't a strong push. Yeah, so I wouldn't have taken it. Actually, it would have been almost a 50% retracement, but that could have been also, you could have still taken a 38 bounce here, and that was a huge flush. Here, another sample, a huge spike. And remember the fibs from body to body, not measuring the wicks. Bounce on the 38 level. Let's see if you have at least 10 pips. And it was exactly 10 pips. So that is why it's good to measure from the 38 to the 0. Make sure that you have at least 10 pips there. Lowest point to the highest point here. You had a flush, 38 bounce. You wouldn't stay on the trade anticipating a rally. You would have bought at the 38 and you would have sold right here after 10 pips. And after you take that trade, you can just sit back and wait for a possible push all the way down to the 62 area for another long position. In this case, the momentum was too strong, so it didn't push back to the 62, and it will happen often. If it doesn't come all the way down to the 62 level, you do not take the trade. Here in this leg seems to be another one right here. Big bearish leg, 38 entry, flush. I'm not sure if there's 10 pips here, but I'm just giving every example that I see on the chart. Here you have 9 pips. So I wouldn't have taken that short. Here you have another one. You have a double top. Run your Fibs from there to the leg that finished off the move and it started retracing. I had a retracement to the 38 level, had another flush, and then it retraced to the 50%, and then another flush. So that was another hyper scalp. And this should be another one right here. You run Fibs at the top to the bottom of this major move, had a retracement. It gave you 3 opportunities to go short at the 38, and there you got the flush. So I personally take the 38 entry only when I see massive moves like this one. The moves need to be, I'll say, above 30 pips. If it's not a big move, I just anticipate a pushback to the 62 level. And I will show just one more example. Oh, look at one here. This is a good example of just giving you 10 pips. The indicators had crossed here, which was a temporary bearish environment. However, if you still run your Fibs going up, you had a 38 bounce, and this gave you at least 10 pips. This gave you 14 pips. So you had the chance to just take your 10 pips off the table and call it a day. So that is clearly from the chart, so you guys can see how it is a risky trade. It is more for experienced traders. I personally only take this trade if it's on a massive move like this. Like I said, anything greater than 30 or 40 pip move or leg. I never go too heavy on those 38 retracements. I don't go any heavier than like 4 pips. 4 lots. And at 10 pips, 4 lots, that's $400. And then you just sit back and wait for a 62 bounce. It's just a way to add additional capital to your trading account. Or also, I have 2 trading accounts. I have one for scalping and day trading, and I have another one for swing trades. However, I don't like swing trading, so what I do with my second account is I take the 38 entries. So with one account, I take my 62 entry plays, and then with the other one, I take the 38 entries. But I barely take the 38 entries just because they are risky trades, and it's only giving you 10 pips. So I'd rather sit back and wait for something greater than that that's going to give me 10 to 30 pips or above. So yeah, this actually concludes the section for hyper scalping and also double entries. It is something like I just mentioned for experienced traders. If you want to get the ball rolling with this, is first practice with the regular 62 to 79 entry for 3 to 6 months. And then after that, after you master that strategy, then you can move forward to the 38. Just so at the end of the year, after you're a profitable trader, you will have 2 patterns under your belt. And having 2 patterns under your belt will definitely put the odds in your favor when it comes to trading. Thank you.